My name is Joe, and I got to go, cause I'm on the flow, and I'm on the show, where my job is I say yes or no! Hey everybody, my name is JoJo Siwa. Hi!
We do need to talk about this new look.
I used to wear pink, but now I wear black.
Making it very clear that we are going from child star to adult artist. When I first signed with Columbia, I said I wanted to start a new genre of music. And they said, what do you mean? And I said, well, it's called gay pop.
I gotta ask you with the gay pop.
Yes.
A lot of people have come for you. Do you retract what you said? Have you
Come for you for that?
2 years ago is when I started writing new music.
The song does sound like a 2010 record. It does, and that was the goal.
You actually recorded this song back in 2012?
Yeah, back in 2012, so it's a shock to me.
The internet can take a lie and run so far with it. Some of the most respected people in the world have come up to me and been like, what you're doing right now is so right. It is so right. It is what the world needs. JoJo, have you learned nothing?
Picture this. It's a cold winter morning in the middle of a skyscraper jungle with the ambient sounds of traffic and the indescribable murmurs of a million or so voices living lives you'll never live in the city of angels, Los Angeles, California. In the midst of it all is a modern office building like something out of a 1980s science fiction movie. Sleek glass walls, cleaner than even the word clean can conjure in your mind, and vacant smiling faces greeting you on every floor. Deep within the office building is a boardroom filled with old white men in suits and ties crowded around as someone at the head of the table begins setting up a presentation to unveil the newest music product this company can sell. Everybody is curious about what's about to be shared. It's been called mind-blowing, better than Lady Gaga, and a new genre of music. The gentleman at the front clears his throat. The presentation is about to begin. Ladies and gentlemen, he says, I present to you the future, gay pop.
When I first signed with Columbia, I said I wanted to start a new genre of music. And they said, what do you mean? And I said, well, it's called gay pop.
What this gentleman is presenting is his brand new product, JoJo Siwa 2.0. Former rainbow-dripped child star, once marketed towards children, now presented in a sleeker, darker, edgier packaging. Gone is the world of the oversized bow-wearing, dancing reality star and glittery Walmart backpacks. Now we present what Daryl Hannah from Blade Runner would look like if she were a dollar store Marvel villain knockoff. Respectfully, as someone wise once said, the darkness is a metaphor for darkness. I know, deep.
The darkness is a metaphor for darkness.
But lost in the discussion surrounding JoJo Siwa 2.0 is a very simple yet often ignored premise. Why is the person being treated as a product and nothing more? I mean, there's gotta be something more to Miss Siwa than a room of suits dictating very unoriginal moves previously pulled off by countless other entertainers over the course of history. I mean, she said so herself when she claimed this was her authentic self, and nobody else has ever done this. So, what are we missing?
There's been similar. Never someone that was themselves that's making this boom jump transition to also themselves, you know what I mean?
As it turns out, the story of JoJo Siwa is a complicated one. The story of the allegedly exploited becoming the alleged exploiter, whose history of being surrounded by yes men has left her in an echo chamber, incapable of self-reflection and tragically left at the mercy of a vicious commentariat who are quick to remind her that she's not the first to do this, she's not an innovator, and she's certainly not the first in her generation. And even with her troubling past and childhood stardom, it doesn't wave off the fact that she has been accused of being a cruel bully who allegedly mistreated a disabled person, possibly ruining her career before it even truly lifted off the ground. This is the story of why it seems everybody hates JoJo Siwa, how she was born a product and allegedly became the problem, and why it all might be by design. And this is what we know. Oh, hi there, hello, hi, it's my face again, Swoop! If you're seeing me for the first time, welcome. I'm a filmmaker and I make documentaries and short films on unsolved cases, true crime, and social media influencers who abuse their power and manipulate audiences because, as I always say, it's not drama, it's dangerous. Now, fun fact, did you know there are 6 forms of documentary film, and my work is a hybrid of 2 styles, expository and performative documentary, so you'll get the facts, my perspective, and a chance to share your own. We also dig deeper into the root psychology, and sometimes we take it to to Petty University, because honey, okay, listen, Petty is my coping mechanism for asshats, okay? If you want to join the Petty University community, all are welcome, and you can grab your pieces from the Valid Ribcage and Valid Social Club collections in the Petty University shop, linked below as always. Also, are you following me on Instagram? That's where I post most often, so please do find me there. Let's connect. With all of that in mind, this story is about to get intense, and to help you hear every shocking detail, you're gonna need some great earbuds. So a huge quick thank you to today's sponsor, Raycon, who make my favorite earbuds, the everyday earbuds, which just got even better because they now feature active noise cancellation, and they are incredible. So if you've been with me for a minute, you've probably heard me gush about Raycon's everyday earbuds before. They have the same audio quality as the big guys for half the price, and they are hands down the most comfortable and long-lasting earbuds I have ever worn. And somehow they just got better than ever with the launch of their upgraded model of the best-selling everyday earbuds. The upgraded everyday earbuds have incredible sound, and now you also get active noise cancellation, ergonomic design, and multi-point connectivity that lets you pair with 2 devices at the same time. My Raycon everyday earbuds are always with me, and the active noise cancellation has taken these from like 10 out of 10 to like 10,000 out of 10 recommend. They come in all these gorgeous colors and have optimized gel tips, which keep them in place no matter what and are so comfortable. Like, I would always get earaches with other brands, and I never do with these. They're weatherproof and sweatproof, so I wear them when I'm working out, listening to my favorite music, when I'm editing my docs, and when I need to just kind of take a break from all of the chaos, I pop in my everyday earbuds to relax to my favorite podcast and tune out the whole rest of the world. Seriously, if you've been wanting to check out Raycons, there is truly no better time. Their upgraded model blew me away, and I know that they'll blow you away too. So go ahead and click the link in the description box or go to buyraycon.com/swoop to get 20% off your Raycon purchase plus free shipping. And ding, 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 Raycon offers a 30-day happiness guarantee, so there is no risk, just pure noise canceling joy waiting for you. So treat yourself, honey. You deserve it. Okay, buckle up, friends, and let's dive into the people versus JoJo Siwa.
Then we got some more JoJo posters here. We got some more JoJo toys. We got the JoJo airbrush hair kit. We got another little karaoke machine. We got
For those of you who have seemingly escaped the relentless push of JoJo mania sweeping the nation, or the breathless coverage of her in recent days, JoJo Siwa has been a star for essentially her entire life. But she has already pivoted from a career on the hit reality show Dance Moms as a precocious child to a life as a multi-hyphenate actor slash dancer slash influencer slash pop star that can be seen on your TV screens, on Nickelodeon, your store shelves as a backpack. You may even see her cutting you off in traffic.
JoJo Siwa cutting us off on Sunset Boulevard.
JoJo Siwa bullying us over here.
It is JoJo Siwa.
And like, funny or tragically enough, you could even put JoJo Siwa makeup right on your face. Though, unfortunately, it was recalled for containing trace amounts of asbestos in it. The nerve of you, asbestos, you dirty little party pooper. JoJo is a lifer in the entertainment industry to the point that a video exists of her first dance recital at the age of 2, which I just like to ask, dear Petty University class, what were you doing at the age of 2? Because for me, the answer is that I was being a fucking baby. I was goo-gooing, I was gaga-ing, and like not in the cool lady sort of way, and I sure as shit wasn't in a dance recital while I gooed or god. You know, that clip actually brought a question to mind that I don't think anyone has the answer to. At what age for the child is it like just, you know, proud parents and it's cute? And at what age is it exploitation? Like, is there a chance that it's never exploitation, or is it always exploitation? Like, take a quick second right now and comment what you think, because I guarantee that the answers are gonna be kind of all across the board, and I'm so curious what y'all think and if what you happen to think changes throughout this doc. So The truth is, discussing the nuances of JoJo Siwa has proven quite challenging for a lot of creators due to the fact that there really is a lot to be said about the tragedy of someone whose entire life boils down to being treated by adults as a product to overwork at exhausting lengths for a profit. JoJo has been exploited to some degree, in my opinion, and likely by a number of yes men, yes people that have constantly propped up every single idea in her life as the right one, since it lined their pockets in a huge way.
And on top of that, we have some of my favorite products. So we got the little Bobo piggy bank, we got the JoJo dream car, and of course the little boomerang doll. We got a JoJo Siwa hair adorable, and look at this. It's an on tour with JoJo board game. We got some JoJo bedding. This is the new bedding that's available right now. It's so cute. I'm obsessed with it.
Now, however, and this is important, eventually that also lined JoJo's pockets too.
Then we got some more JoJo posters. Here we got some more JoJo toys. We got the JoJo airbrush hair kit. We got another little karaoke machine.
And it led to what many have criticized in JoJo as a bit of an unearned confidence as an adult, as a result of the perception that she does not actually know what true failure is like, because, you know, the suits in the room saw to that. They were like, we don't let this product fail, so it's not gonna fail.
So as you guys know, I'm signed with Nickelodeon, and now Nickelodeon does all my consumer products, which is so cool.
Now, you'll see this come up again when we start talking about karma, which is why I'd rather start at the end and kind of work our way backwards through the issues with JoJo as an adult. Now, I wanna make a note. I've got a script locked and loaded. Should y'all be interested in me doing a doc on the real villain of JoJo Siwa's childhood, Miss Abby Lee Miller. Come on down. Part-time dance instructor and full-time bitch, I mean banshee, full-time banshee, who has been alleged by many Dance Moms alum to have been verbally abusive, pushing the girls on the show far beyond what they, as children, were comfortable doing. Now, notably, JoJo Siwa is not one of those girls, having gone on record many times defending Abby from the allegations made by the other girls, so we will get to that later too. But let me know if you want to see that Abby Miller doc, okay? It's literally just been I've just been sitting on it, thinking about it. Maybe it's time. Let me know. But when I said we'll talk about that later, especially given the context that Abby Lee Miller is far, far, far from the only problematic adult JoJo Siwa's gone to bat for, okay? Wink, wink, a nudge, nudge. Colleen, we'll get to that too.
Toxic gossip train.
So, to start, the most important thing that you need to know about JoJo Siwa, former child superstar turned edgy adult musician, is that at the turn of the decade, JoJo began slowly branching away from her unicorns and rainbow aesthetic into someone slightly more adult. In 2021, she came out as queer and has become something of a queer rights advocate on TikTok.
So I knew since I was little that I was never straight. I knew that, but I also was never like, oh, I'm gay. And I told myself for a long time, I was like, one day, like, if I have someone to come out with, then I will come out. I was like, I think after they post this TikTok, like, I think it's gonna out me. And she was like, it for sure is. And I was like, great, sick. So then it did, and that video people were, you know, going bananas over. And so I was like, you know what? We're gonna have some fun with this.
She's taken on more adult gigs, like being a judge on the show So You Think You Can Dance. But for a few weeks in early 2024, JoJo was hinting at something weirder, something darker. And it really seemed to ramp up in March when she wiped her Instagram and posted a parental advisory message. For full context, a parental advisory warning on JoJo Siwa's page promising something explicit, something violent, something inappropriate seemed like a reach to a lot of people. And it still kind of does after they saw what that was about, but I digress. This is the JoJo that most people picture when they think of JoJo Siwa. This is the JoJo many people that spend too much time online might be picturing. And I mean, like, this was JoJo just a few months ago in December 2023. Okay, so like, yes, like chimney sweep JoJo isn't actually a regular thing by any means, but if she had made a full pivot into hello governor territory as a fake Brit, about as fake as my terrible accent, there's a good chance that she may have been better received than she is today as a fake Brit. If you get the joke, you're already ahead of the game. After weeks of teasing this brand new era of JoJo, she finally began to be more explicit, announcing that a music video for a song called Karma was dropping on April 5th, 2024. Now, almost immediately people were a little skeptical. What was the makeup, the getup? Why is JoJo falling backwards? And then on the evening of April 4th, just a few hours shy of midnight, April 5th, the secret was revealed. And also, I love that she got a tattoo for the song April 5th, but it came out the 4th. But you know, things happen. So Karma was here, and give me a minute to give it a fair analysis, okay? No pettiness. Okay, not yet. But you could see almost immediately in this video that JoJo Siwa was working toward a complete overhaul of her childlike image, her holding two women while adorned in Gene Simmons style face paint. I mean, honestly, it's just the same kind of face paint she's always been doing. They just did it in black and called it edgy. Cool. The scene cutting between her in angelic white on a boat and her Rihanna VMA aesthetic on display on a tropical island. Even the very first lyric of the song signified something was different. I was a bad girl. I did some bad things. Can I just point out real quick how much I love JoJo telling an interviewer that she doesn't know who Gene Simmons is? It's my favorite.
I'm getting like a sexy glam Gene Simmons sea creature. Ooh. Going on. You know, the amount of references that people have told me I look like in this video that I have no clue what they are is sickening. I'm adding that one to the list, but I'll take it. I heard sexy and I heard sea creature, so I'll take it.
Like, I don't know if someone in branding did JoJo dirty or like if she's lying or what's going on, but that cracks me up. Anyways, the song Karma itself feels like a callback to a different era of pop music entirely than what we may be accustomed to hearing in 2024 because everyone else in the world has evolved past that sound. But her thing having a distinctly early 2010s sensibility, both in its production, which is clearly EDM inspired, and its lyrical content, with the message of the song being quite blunt. Like, if you're in a relationship and you cheat, then girl, karma's a bitch, which is also very interesting to me that JoJo decided that she wanted her image to be that of someone who cheats in relationships. I really just kind of think they should have like switched a few of the lyrics around. You know, instead of being like karma's a bitch, I should have known better, you could have easily written the song as karma's a bitch, you should have known better, and then like have the whole thing about someone cheating on JoJo and therefore JoJo becomes that bitch who gets with, you know, someone else and like is the triumphant bitch of the story. That would have been a little more interesting to me, but whatever. The story, karma's a bitch, you gonna get got, was a huge departure from her older songs like her breakout hit Boomerang, which had a pretty firm anti-haters message with lyrics like, I don't really care about what they say, I'ma come back like a boomerang, won't let the haters get their way, I'ma come back like a boomerang. I hope that she's maintaining that mantra because there's gonna be criticisms and you gotta have tough skin. We all know this very well. Now, before I get into what happened next, I'll grant JoJo some grace and say that if she had just released the song and maybe not do the next thing she did, then I think there's a pretty likely chance that nobody would be dragging JoJo Siwa to high hell and back. Sure, the truth is that many people, both professional and on social media, find the song to be generic, trite, totally manufactured via autotune and Pro Tools. But to be fair, most pop music is generic, trite, and totally manufactured via autotune and Pro Tools. And yes, the entire aesthetic rings insincere, but if we left it there, this might actually be a doc in defense of JoJo Siwa that solely calls for compassion on the many reasons we need to allow child stars who historically are not allowed to up in the way that normal kids are allowed to up to, well, we gotta allow them up, right? If it were just the Karma music video release, it would be part of the growing pains that many young stars go through. It ends up on, you know, some cringe compilation on TikTok. People make memes comparing JoJo Siwa to the obvious Gene Simmons. Unflattering photos of JoJo go viral on Twitter. Unfortunately, it wasn't just the song. It was what the internet collectively decided was the unchecked ego behind the song that led to the dismantling of a house of cards that may truly be at the beginning of a different kind of rebranding than she wanted.
Some of the most respected people in the world have come up to me and been like, what you're doing right now is so right. It is so right. It is what the world needs. Like, I am learning from what you're doing right now, and that's crazy to me.
She's also allegedly a contributor to an incredibly abusive and toxic work environment. Yeah. Y'all, I'm gonna be real here. This next section is frustrating as hell. There is a level of barbecue battered bullshit, the side of dickball marketing delusion that my serious self can't take very seriously as hard as I try. So like many of you know that I am a recording artist. I stepped away for a while after a traumatic event, and hopefully I will return sooner than later. I keep telling myself that I should do that because I'm happier on stage than I am doing anything. But I've toured the world. I've directed music videos. I'm a songwriter and musician, and I've done all of this longer than I've been doing these docs that you've been watching. And like, I don't know, if I could convince myself while editing this to put out some footage, then I will insert them right here. If I just, yeah, whatever, who cares? I'm just gonna do it. Here's something.
My name is Franke Valentine, and I'm ready to put on a show for you tonight.
So for the sake of my sanity, y'all know, okay, petty is my coping mechanism to get me through the hard times. So, Petty University class in session. Yes, friends, Professor Petty has entered the chat. I am channeling my inner Petty LaBelle because bitch! So if you want to grab your grad caps or put on your Petty University hoodie, okay, yes, we love a Petty University moment. Suit up and let's go. So on the very same day that JoJo released Karma, Billboard released an interview that they conducted that answered the many questions the public might have had about her sudden rebrand, as well as the history of the song Karma. And the interview went viral for like one comment in particular.
The genre is, I said it back in the day when I first signed with Columbia, I said I want to start a new genre of music. And they said, what do you mean? And I said, well, it's called gay pop. And they were like, what's that? And I was like, it's like K-pop, right? But it's gay pop.
Okay. Now, as of me recording this, it's only been, a few weeks since JoJo said these now iconic for all the wrong reasons words to the world. And I'm sure every single one of you have heard it a million times. Like you've probably seen The Stitch from Tegan and Sarah, who some consider pioneers in the field of gay pop.
I want to start a new genre of music. And they said, what do you mean? And I said, well, it's called gay pop.
Or maybe you've seen this video from Charlie XCX, who is so renowned for having a gay male audience that straight men allegedly have anxieties that they themselves might be gay just for liking her music. Or I don't know, maybe the works of people like Elton John, Freddie Mercury, David Bowie, Billy Porter, Janelle Monáe. Maybe they want to chime in, even Lady Gaga. And what about Lil Nas X? Okay, if you want to talk about gay pop with an edgy 180 transformation of the same generation that JoJo's in, that boy went from cowboy hats to sliding down stripper poles in hell, okay? And let's not forget the glory of this clip existing of Azalea Banks.
One of our interns here, she said that you make music for gays.
I do.
I'm not the intern. I mean, she looked at me like...
What's wrong with that?
Nothing at all.
Nothing's wrong with it.
So?
No, I'm saying
now?
it's not specifically for that audience. You just make music, right?
I guess.
JoJo Siwa talking about inventing gay pop is such a monumental slip of the tongue at best, insult at worst, that it's become a moment bigger than the song itself, with multiple websites releasing lists of iconic gay pop songs and Twitter having a field day dunking on the rebrand and this claim that she invented a whole genre that essentially existed lifetimes before she was even born. Now, to be fair here, JoJo has since come forward and clarified that this was indeed a slip of the tongue.
I gotta ask you with the gay pop.
Yes.
A lot of people have come for you. Do you retract what you said? Have you
Why did you come for me for that? Literally, what did I say? Here's the thing. I'd be like, I support world peace. And the world would be like, you
But a lot of people are saying that there was a lot of icons that have come before you.
So many. Gosh, I saw, like...
Can you clarify that statement?
Clarify that statement. Oh God, I get one time to not mess this one up. I think I just want to make it more clear that gay pop is a genre. You have pop, you have rock, you have country, and you have gay pop. Hi. If I said to somebody, name a gay pop artist, they'd go, what's gay pop? But if I said to somebody, name a rock artist, you would say, Kiss, AC/DC. You know what I mean?
I think they'd say Lady Gaga. I think they'd say Chappell Roan. They'd say Freddie Mercury, Elton John.
Okay, that's valid, because I would too.
Can we just pause for the fact that in a previous clip that this woman just got through being asked about looking like a dollar store Gene Simmons from the band Kiss, and she said she didn't know who that is.
I'm getting like a sexy glam Gene Simmons sea creature.
Ooh.
Going on.
You know, the amount of references that people have told me I look like in this video that I have no clue what they are is sickening.
And here she is literally naming the band Kiss when listing rock bands.
But if I said to somebody, name a rock artist, you would say, Kiss, AC/DC. You know what I mean?
So, yeah, it sounds like maybe she knows who it is, but what do I know? Anyways.
Do you want to go back on your statement and say that you weren't the inventor of gay pop?
I definitely am not the inventor of gay pop, for sure not. But I do want to be a piece in making it bigger than it already is.
Okay.
I want to bring more attention to it.
Okay.
I'm not the creator, but I'm not the president, but I might be like the CEO or the CMO.
Okay.
I could be the CMO, the Chief Marketing Officer.
I like that.
My marketing tactics, whether people like it or not.
I think that's fair.
All right, I'm the CMO of Gay Pop.
On one hand, the Chief Marketing Officer of Gay Pop would be a pretty boss-ass title to embody if somebody else gifted it to you and it was earned. And as someone who actually watched her entire Billboard interview, I can be fair and say that when that clip isn't taken out of context, she does go on to talk about gay pop as something that already existed.
Is this world of music. It's the songs like Applause by Lady Gaga. It's the On My Own Miley Cyrus, Can't Be Tamed Miley Cyrus, Karma. It's that world of music where it's not necessarily pop. It's not giving you Katy Perry, California Girls pop. It's giving you Lady Gaga, Judas. And I have a vision, and I've always had it. I know what I want to be. I know where I want to go. I know the level. I know the craziness. I know what I want to make the world believe. And fuck it, we've all. You know what I mean? Let's go.
Unfortunately for JoJo, though, it wasn't just the gay pop remarks that caught on, and that's where we start to get some of the more serious allegations levied against JoJo, namely the allegations that she stole Karma from another performer by the name of Britt Smith. It took only a few days for people to discover that JoJo Siwa did not write this song. In fact, it was pointed out that it was incredibly likely that the song was written when JoJo's age was a single digit, way back around 2011, 2012. Soon conspiracies began running amok, with this TikTok in particular alleging that the song was originally written for Miley Cyrus, and they found receipts to allegedly prove it.
So back in 2011, which is when Miley was in her Can't Be Tamed era, a popular update account for her said that they heard from a very reliable source that Miley had a song called Karma's a Bitch. And then Miley seemed to confirm this in 2012 when she was in a Twitter conversation with the producers of Can't Be Tamed, Rock Mafia, and they even responded to her tweet with hashtag Karma's a Bitch. If you look at the writing credits for Karma by JoJo Siwa, you'll see that JoJo isn't listed. She took no part in writing the song. But who is listed? Rock Mafia as the producers and writers, and Antonia Armato as a writer. And Antonia wrote for a bunch of Disney artists back in the day, including Miley. I get why Miley didn't release it because she was still under Disney at the time, so they probably heard her say bitch and they were like, not on our watch. But imagine if she did put it out, she would have pissed off the public so much.
Soon social media exploded with the allegations that JoJo Siwa had allegedly stolen a song, potentially from Miley Cyrus, realistically from someone named Britt Smith, and that she hadn't credited the actual writers while claiming to have written the song herself. These allegations actually led to Britt Smith's version of Karma, which was titled Karma's a Bitch, going so viral on TikTok that it actually began to outsell JoJo's version, peaking at number 3 on the iTunes charts. So holy shit, scandal, outrageous, capital D drama, right? Well, no. The first thing to point out is that most of the initial outrage is based off of a fundamental misunderstanding of a common practice within the music industry. Basically, producers and songwriters writing songs for their stars. So are you a fan of Britney Spears' Baby One More Time, or maybe NSYNC's It's Gonna Be May? I gotta say, it's gotta be May, because this video is posting in May. Those were written by a man named Max Martin, a Swedish record producer whose resume is practically unparalleled in the pop music industry. How about Billie Eilish? Remember her breakout Ocean Eyes or When the Party's Over? she didn't write those. Her brother Phineas did. Or maybe you're more of like a rock fan and like, you know, the old school like Good Charlotte, The Used, Panic at the Disco, Blink-182. Each of those bands have had material written by Goldfinger frontman and rock producer John Feldman, who can charitably be called the Max Martin of pop punk. And that leads us to Timbaland, the credited producer on the Britt Smith version of Karma, whose writing credits have, you know, their own damn wiki page. Timbaland, however, did not write Karma. A group called Rock Mafia, who are actually the musicians Tim James and Antonia Armato, are the ones who wrote it over a decade ago. And after Britt Smith went viral, Page Six actually reached out to her, and she set the record straight once and for all, revealing that the internet was mostly right. JoJo didn't steal anything, but the song was originally written for Miley Cyrus before it became Britt's.
Now, from what I understand, you actually recorded this song back in 2012?
Yes, yeah, back in 2012. So it's a shock to me that it's got a new life, which is amazing. But yeah, with Rock Mafia back in the day, it was supposed to be my first single. Things changed and I went with Provocative instead, and shouldn't have done that really. We should have gone with Karma, that was my first choice, but label things got in the way and I kind of was led in that direction, and we went with Provocative, and then I left the industry after that. I went in with Rock Mafia to meet with them to write, and they played me Karma. And I heard it. They had said, oh, you know, this was actually, I think what they had said was this was written with Miley Cyrus in mind. But she had passed on it, I think. And so they said I could, you know, give it a shot recording it. And I did it, and they liked my version. And then because I was in talks with Timbaland at the time, we said, why don't we just start with this one? You can produce this, and then we'll do more together. And that's what happened. He produced that, and then we shot the video, and then so we shifted gears and went with Provocative, and then, yeah, Karma just sort of took a back seat at the time.
When all of these accusations of theft first exploded, I spoke to a dear friend of mine, Rod Kim, who's a very talented songwriter who spends his time writing songs for other artists and producing music tracks for your favorite social platforms.
I'm Rod Kim. By day, I'm a full-time songwriter here in Los Angeles. By night, I get high and talk about 90s music on TikTok.
Hey, does anybody remember that time the Backstreet Boys recorded I Want It That Way, but with lyrics that actually made sense?
So I'm gonna let him break down how all of this actually works.
So every song has a composition element and a sound recording element. Think of the composition element as the soul or essence of the song, the music, the lyrics, like the intellectual property of it, and there's only one of these per song. The recording element is the actual audio you hear for a specific recording of a song. There can be an infinite amount of these, and that's how you get things like cover songs. When a songwriter writes a song, they have first recording rights, and that's exactly what it sounds like. They, and any contractually involved publishers or labels, have the right to choose who records and releases the first audio-only version of the song. After the song is officially released, anyone can record their version of the song by obtaining a compulsory mechanical license. And each of these audio-only recordings is what is known as the masters. So in this case, JoJo Siwa's version of Karma is her own master, and Britt Smith's is a completely different master, but the composition is the same. Now, presumably a celebrity as high profile as JoJo Siwa and her team secured the first recording rights since Britt Smith's version had not yet previously been released. The funny thing is, I think this technically makes Britt's version the first cover of this song, but that's more of a question for a lawyer. But that brings us to an interesting point. Did Britt Smith have permission to release her version over a decade later? We can't know for sure because the general public doesn't know who owns the masters to Britt's version, but there's a couple likely scenarios. The first one is maybe when she and her label parted ways, there was some agreement made that gave her ownership of the masters to do whatever she wanted with. This is really unlikely, but not impossible. The second scenario is everyone still communicates with one another, and when JoJo Siwa's version of the song and Britt Smith's leaked music video went viral, everyone messaged each other and just agreed to release it. And the third possible scenario is that Britt just released a version from a file on her computer and hoped for the best without any permission. And this is not the advisable way to do it, but it hasn't stopped other people from trying in the past.
Okay, now that that's all cleared up, the actual facts of how music publishing and song usage works unfortunately didn't put an end to the massive storm of accusations and speculations thrown around on social media, to the point that Britt Smith had to release a video addressing the theft controversy once more.
I am here to set the record straight once and for all. JoJo did not steal my song. there's been a lot of talk and a lot of comments, and they just keep going and going and going. And so I just thought, let me just come on here and hopefully put an end to this. She was totally in the right to record her version. And I hate to see, that anybody would think that I'm a part of any kind of bullying or anything like that. I was bullied in high school. And I know what that feels like, and I would never want to be thought to be any part of that. So I just want to make it clear that JoJo has done nothing wrong to me.
So what's this about JoJo claiming she wrote the damn song then? Well, she didn't. Yeah, at least in regards to Karma, but don't worry, JoJo's next single is also a song that another artist has already recorded. More on that in a bit. But back to JoJo claiming that she wrote Karma. The way people have justified that accusation is by stating that it's the way JoJo talked about the songwriting process. Specifically, it was the discussion highlighted on Billboard's own website where she talks about changing the lyrics and especially changing the bridge.
We actually recorded Karma 6 different times. I had 6 sessions on Karma, a couple times with different vocal producers. And that was really just because it's such a massive song with so many elements. If you listen to the first version of Karma, whole different song. The bridge, whole different bridge. The bridge basically the whole time was one note, and it was really cool. But what if it kind of had this, little bit of flow to it?
Now, notice that's not her claiming to write the song, but people assumed that she was talking about it as if she did. But to be fair, in this here, a People versus a JoJo Siwa Petty University edition, why were people so mad? And I think TikToker Big Birdie has perhaps the most nuanced take on why.
The main gripe that people are having with it is the fact that leading up to the song, she spent every single interview, every single red carpet event talking about the song like it was this big revolutionary thing that she was doing. So to pair that with the single fact that she did not write the song, she actually had no input on the song, it was written many, many years before, there's nothing wrong with her taking that song. People do that all the time. But Adele didn't treat All I Ask like it was going to be a career-defining song for her. It stems from a thing that Gen Z has become very key at zoning in on, and it's inauthenticity. If people in this generation can look at somebody and see that they are more portraying a character than they are actually being themselves, they are going to be less inclined to really, gravitate towards that person's personality and what it is that they're doing. Be proud of what you do. Be grateful of what others help you do.
This here cuts to the core of the real tragedy of JoJo Siwa and the song. If we give her the benefit of the doubt when she claims this is a reflection of her authentic self and something that she has wanted to do for a long time, and that this is more her sensibility than the image she fostered for herself before, and yet people believe firmly, viscerally, that this is actually inauthentic, then who is JoJo Siwa really?
We are going from child star to adult artist. It's very important to me, and I have wanted to take my time to make sure this moment is as perfect as possible.
We're so excited. I mean, we've seen artists do this, from Britney and Slave for You, Miley Can't Be Tamed. How is this era gonna feel for you to just finally let it go and be who you authentically are?
That's been my most massive inspiration, is no one has made this dramatic of a change yet.
Saying that no one has made this dramatic of a change yet right after citing people like Britney Spears and Miley Cyrus as your inspiration is wild, dude. It's stupid. I'm sorry. I ran out of clever adjectives. It doesn't compute. What the why are we, I don't get it, adult JoJo.
No one has made, in my generation, this extreme of a switch, and I am the first in the generation. It is very scary, but someone's gotta do it.
Okay, what in the whole grain, gluten-free Pete Davidson spread evenly on a buttery biscuit and gravy, dude? Calling yourself the first in your generation to have an extreme switch is such a out of touch, bizarre marketing scam that it's going to do nothing but turn everyone against you out of the gate. And if you want to split hairs on this and say that Britney and Miley aren't from JoJo's generation, must I remind you of a bona fide Gen Z darling, Lil Nas X and the Pole from Hell. I am so curious who in the PR department landed on this pile of just crispy bullshit for the marketing campaign. Was it the suits, or was it JoJo smelling her own farts? I don't know, and actually, honestly, I don't even care. But I think it's sentiments like this that generated the massive outcry of people saying how inauthentic this all feels to them. Remember a bit ago how I mentioned JoJo's potential next single is also a song that another artist has already recorded? This song is called Choose Your Fighter, and it's one that JoJo played at her listening party.
This next song is called Choose Your Fighter.
But this isn't the first time that the song has been recorded. An artist by the name of Emmeline also recorded it. An artist who has 2.8 million monthly listeners on Spotify, has a song with 151 million streams, a song that she is listed as one of the writers on because she's also actually a songwriter, unlike JoJo Siwa, an artist who is signed to Universal and is also doing, wait for it, gay pop!
I don't know if everyone knows this, but...
Sorry, JoJo, I guess your generation keeps beating you to the gay punch. So, long story short, Emmeline posted a now deleted video on TikTok of her singing along to this song, which she presumably participated in writing in 2022, though she never released the song. Now, fast forward to present day, where JoJo played the song at her own listening party with what sounds like Emmeline's actual vocals still on it, and also performed it live on May 17th at Miami Beach Pride. Now, when JoJo played this song at her listening party, the way that JoJo introduced it has people, once again, pissed off.
This song, I want you to listen for a very special ad-lib. Because it is about one of my exes. And I will sure as hell point it out when that ad-lib comes, don't you worry. This next song is called Choose Your Fighter.
JoJo frames it, once again, to almost sound like she's saying she wrote the song about her ex, when she very much most likely didn't write shit. Now, the only reason I can't say one way or another if she has any writing credits, if they've updated the song or done anything here, is because the song hasn't been released by JoJo yet, and therefore I can't look up the credits. But let's be real here, what is JoJo a songwriter?
I wrote this rap song called The Lies Sound Better. So sick, but I just can't do it yet.
You know, that's gonna be another era that we're waiting on in the future.
Oh, hold on, sorry. Okay, you wrote this rap song. So sick. Oh, wait.
I told my writer, I was like, look, faster than Busta Rhymes. I was like, challenge me.
Oh, wait, she's got speed on the skills too?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, we speed rap.
You mean you told your writer to write the rap song faster than Busta? Child, okay, I'm just like, the world can wait. Y'all, I gotta say this. I just have to have a moment here. My little petty LaBelle's gotta say some shit. Okay, I don't know what it is about the transformation of like the white artists, and they're like, I'm gonna be edgy, and now suddenly I'm just gonna do a rap song real quick, even though I have no experience, no skill, no anything in the world of rap, no foot in the game, nothing. And it's just like, I don't know when the shift was where people decided that rap was like the simple, easy form of art that you can just like jump in and out of anytime you choose. It's like they're trying to mimic what they think the culture is for the day. And I can't think of anything more inauthentic than something like that. But you know, cool. I guess we're gonna have to deal with JoJo rapping.
My name is Joe, and I got to go, cause I'm on the flow, and I'm on the show, where my job is I say yes or no!
I just had a thought, and this would be wild, and I'm going back to the song that Emmeline has already recorded, right? The Choose Your Fighter. What if JoJo didn't write any of this song, but after seeing the massive blowback of karma coming to bite her in the Gene Simmons painted ass, what if the label is scrambling now to add JoJo as a songwriter to that song? What if we see her name listed on it? We won't really know if it's true or not. That would just be so wild and not unheard of. I know some of you are like, well, they can't do that. Well, as we know, there are many artists, you know, like Rihanna or Beyonce, who have literal songwriting camps. They bring people out for the summer to this big, you know, compound, and they'll have camps, teams of writers who write songs for Beyonce, right? And often, even if the artist didn't actually write any of the lyrics, they're still given writing credits. It just depends on the deal that you agree to as a songwriter, right?
And I was like, all I want is to have that one day. Like, I want
that.
There's even an old saying in Nashville, anyone in the room, which meant that if you were in the room when a song was being written, even if you didn't contribute anything, if you were in the room, you were given points. That's just the way it worked. Now, I don't know how much of that is done today, but it was a thing for a long ass time. Anyways, I digress. I wish I could play the clips entirely, but you know, Daddy Platform won't let me here. But there's something really peculiar about JoJo Siwa's version of the Choose Your Fighter song. It sounds exactly like Emmeline's version, right down to the vocal. The song sounds nothing like JoJo's voice, which is a modern miracle. It is a very clean, rasp-free, pure-toned vocal, and I'm sorry, but there's virtually no way that a woman with one singular vocal cord—
I mean, my voice literally and physically, it blew it out. I have one vocal cord, I don't have two, so that's—
Not one vocal cord.
who sounds like she swallowed shards of broken glass every time she speaks. And I don't mean that as an insult, I sound like that when I sing.
Hi! Do you retract what you said? Have you
Or, you know, sounds like her voice is strained to high hell and back in the booth.
Oh my God, she's raspy today.
I don't think that there's much of a way that those damaged vocal cords could suddenly have a pure, baby's butt smooth tone when she sings. And to no one's surprise, people began calling JoJo out for yet again not being original. I mean, holy shit. Look at the top comment from Merlin the Wizard, posted on JoJo's own post of her Miami Pride show performance. Real talk, like, child star thing aside, and we're gonna get more into that in a bit, it's actually just bizarre to me to hear someone brag so hard for so long about being the, the only one in her generation. No one's ever done it before. Icon, blah, 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 words.
Talented, brilliant, incredible, amazing, show-stopping, spectacular.
It's wild to me to overhype your so much when you did not participate in the creation of the art of it, other than being the body performing it after it was created, by other people, respectfully. This happens with a lot of performers, but let's be real about things. She didn't write the song, didn't create the makeup looks, didn't make the costumes, didn't create the choreography. Auto-tune did so much work, she became another vocalist entirely, yet somehow she's a once-in-a-generation artist. Just like Lady Gaga.
Totally unique, completely not ever been done before, unafraid to reference or not reference, put it in a blender, shit on it, vomit on it, eat it, give birth to it.
Like, imagine Ashley Simpson, for example, who got outed for lip-syncing on that SNL performance. Imagine her smelling her own farts this deeply and telling you no other fart has ever farted this beautifully.
On a Monday, I'm waiting. Tuesday, I'm
And again, I wonder, would JoJo Siwa be talking herself up with this level of arrogance if her life hadn't been filled with so many yes men, yes people, where every time she turned around, her name was in neon lights because her controlling mother made it so, creating an illusion of iconic greatness when the art and talent arguably isn't there to back it up, except for, being a dancer on stage with the many, many, many dancers who are also on stage. And so in a now deleted tweet, Emmeline addressed the controversy by saying, "Hi 2024 fans, I'm going to make a story time soon. I actually didn't sign off on it coming out with JoJo, not her fault. If my version gets love, I can still put it out after hers. Thanks for the support." Now the story time has yet to come out, and I'm guessing that her label yanked her tweet and the TikTok video right off her socials to button this up, and that statement likely won't ever come out. Time will tell. I do think, I don't know this for sure, this is just me speculating, I do think that it's highly likely that Emmeline has a deal with her label, publishing deal, where she is a writer, essentially a writer on staff, right? And so anything that she writes becomes the property and owned by the publishing, whatever publishing company assigned her, or the record label, and so she doesn't have rights. So then they can take a song that she wrote, even if she was thinking, hey, I want to use this on my album, they can take that song and just give it to another artist, and she wouldn't be able to sign off on it. It is not her decision because she does not own that IP anymore beyond being, credited as a songwriter. Now, JoJo will be the first person to admit that she does not consider herself a singer, which could explain clips that have gone viral recently of her being a little pitchy and a little raspy.
But you're still a traitor.
However, in an interview with Call Her Daddy, she explicitly calls herself an artist. She takes a lot of pride in her ability to express, her ability to create, her ability to do things that all artists should take pride in.
Like I said, I will never, ever claim to be a singer.
Yeah.
But I will claim to be an artist.
Okay.
I am giving the world art, and they might not like it, they might hate it, but they're enjoying it.
Where the problem becomes quite vast for people is in the authenticity of said art. For example, that bit from the Billboard interview that I highlighted about the songwriting is probably the single most controversial aspect of this whole thing to the public, especially with the knowledge that JoJo did not write the song and very likely didn't change it much beyond a sanitation that is ironically more on brand for her with the literal use of the self-centered effed word. She doesn't say the word, she just actually says effed, very adult, I guess. But people feel pretty strongly that it's not just this part that rings inauthentic, and that sentiment is expressed best by none other than, let me check my notes. Oh wait, what? I'm sorry? Oh, Gabby Hanna?
You. All of these people.
Listen, Gabby Hanna's takes on JoJo Siwa are surprisingly really, really good. I mean, look, you can say a lot about Gabby Hanna and a lot of it would be justified, but if there's one thing she's qualified to speak on, it's karma. Bad karma. So much for the once in a generation or whatever JoJo, but seriously, Gabby actually has a lot of really nuanced thoughts on JoJo with a Facebook post saying, quote, "No one cares that manufactured artists purchase songs from other people. The issue is this woman went on multiple interviews discussing her writing and creative process for the song. The one that really was the nail in the coffin for me was listening to her describe how she changed the bridge to what it is now. She said the first version was monotone, but she wanted to add more movement and flow to it, insinuating that she wrote the new bridge. The bridge in her song is the exact same bridge that was recorded by Britt Smith, who also didn't write the song, by the way. The entire point of being an artist is to express yourself authentically. To lie about the project in the most fundamental level is about as far from authentic as you can be. It's okay to just call yourself a performer and not an artist. To be an artist is to create art. JoJo did not write this song. She did not choreograph this dance and did not create the Gene Simmons rip-off makeup. She is not a creator. She is a performer, and that's okay. Just say that. Again, at the end of the day, it's like these are all just our opinions from our own experiences on this, right? But like, share my opinion. I am very much a recording artist. From day one when I started doing music, I literally was like, I had, this my old little like broken computer, and I was programming and sequencing the music beats to have like a drum beat, and I was recording myself with a guitar. I was recording the bass. I play bass and doing the vocals, and I wrote all of my songs till eventually I started doing some co-writes with other songwriters, and I literally hand sewed all of my costumes and my dancers' wardrobes for shows. I directed and shot and storyboarded and then like styled all of my music videos. I edited my music videos. I was in Pro Tools and doing vocal comps on my own vocals, and like I am literally involved in absolutely every single facet of the creative process. As an artist, I was choreographing my dancers until I brought in a choreographer to take over for me because my gosh, there are people who do it way better than I do. And so I'm involved in every single facet of everything. And a lot of that was by necessity. When I was first coming up, I didn't have any label, any machine backing behind me, money, nothing. I literally had nothing. But from my perspective, as someone who is involved in every one of those things that I have been doing, I do consider that being an artist. I do not consider what JoJo's doing being a performer, but that's just my opinion. So like, you know, does it mean anything at the end of the day? Like, you know, who cares, right? But I do think there is separation between performer, meaning someone is plugged in, everything is already built around them, and then you just plug in a person and you can swap them out and put in another person if you need to. And then there's the artist who is literally creating, crafting from scratch the art and involved in that process. I do believe that there's a difference. I firmly agree with Gabby on this, for whatever it's worth.
I'm not about to name anybody, and I'm not subtweeting, so don't try to tell me I am. There comes a time in a child star's life where they want to be seen by the world as an adult. The problem is that in our culture, they're equating adulthood with sexuality, or rather, sexual acts. I'm a 33-year-old bona fide adult. I'm a homeowner, I own multiple businesses, I have 3 different sets of lawyers. Like, I'm an adult. And I'm abstinent. So when I see a child, somebody who at least is still mentally a child, just being so outwardly sexual because they think it makes them look like an adult, all I'm seeing is somebody putting on adult face. They are appropriating the adult culture. They are playing a caricature of what they believe an adult to be, which is somebody who gets to do whatever they want and stay up late and have whoever, and nobody can tell me anything.
Now, it's honestly quite normal for child stars to rebrand themselves in an attempt to transition into a more adult life, especially when it comes to girls becoming women. We saw it happen with Billie Eilish, Miley Cyrus, you know, Britney Spears, Demi Lovato, Christina Aguilera, the list goes on and on and on and on. But in each case, there's also this theme where it feels like every time a young woman enters this new era, I don't know what it is, but they are all hyper sexual. You know, I don't know if it's like the tired old, you know, sells marketing mantra, or if there's a little bit of misogyny at play, making women think that their main, real, true worth lies in their bodies and sexuality, or if it's just actual raging hormones. I mean, I'm not one to be exempt from this conversation because me as a performer, I wear teeny tiny little outfits. My ass has been, you know, on stage seen all over the world, okay? Yeah, that's the reality. And still, after all the cringe and the baiting that I think their marketing team is doing, I still find myself thinking, isn't this all by design? Anyways, Petty University, class dismissed. I want to take a moment now for a perspective piece. This is the part where I like to take the sort of devil's advocate approach and look at things potentially from JoJo Siwa's perspective. And I can't do that without going back to her roots as a child star. Now, there's been a lot of discourse around claims that JoJo Siwa was a child victim of exploitation and developmental harm. I mean, take one look at the way Abby Lee Miller aggressively treated JoJo and other children during the filming of Dance Moms. It's hard to think that the child JoJo was anything but a victim. But here's the thing, JoJo Siwa has very aggressively denied on multiple occasions that she is a victim or has been exploited in any way. Now, I'd argue that by definition, she was and continues to be exploited due simply to the nature of the industry and being signed to a record label and an overbearing mother insisting on lights, camera, and action damn near since birth when JoJo couldn't consent or understand. Also that child JoJo could pay all of the family bills.
I didn't really realize till I was maybe 17 or 18, like, oh, I pay for everything for everyone.
From my perspective, that is heartbreaking. But JoJo disagrees, which she has the right to. Let's set JoJo aside for a second because as y'all know in a Swoop doc, we like a broad perspective, a global perspective moment. I was really curious about the potential effects of fame on a child's development in general, and I found some fascinating pieces. For starters, this essay by Taylor Dennings on BU Pipe Dream discusses something called child actor syndrome. The term child actor syndrome is often used in media to describe troubled adults who grew up from childhood acting. They may struggle with anxiety, depression, and other mental health issues as a result of the scrutiny they lived under during important developmental years. The constant demand for perfection leads child actors to throw away the innocent persona enforced by producers, organizations, and managers at the earliest convenience. Would you want to live under such intense stress all of your life? As child stars age, they are often faced with rejection, objectification, and a sense of burnout that can turn many away from the industry in its entirety. So in this piece titled, Why Do So Many Child Stars Develop PTSD, published by Paracelsus Recovery, a luxury recovery center and the world's most private and expensive centers, they write, when a child experiences a traumatic or abusive event, their brain releases toxic stress. Prolonged and frequent exposure to toxic stress levels can rewire parts of their brain, setting the stage for post-traumatic stress disorder later in life. And former child star Mara Wilson had this to say, quote, everyone feels disgusting and useless during puberty, but imagine that people you once relied on and trusted, as well as millions of people you'd never met who'd previously liked you, told you, yeah, it's true, you are exactly as ugly and worthless as you feel. So with all of this in mind, which I think is just fascinating and tragic, absolutely tragic, the things that could be happening to child stars as they come up in the world and become adults, I wanted to get a little perspective directly from some former child stars who are still famous today. So from an article by Lewis Chilton on The Independent titled What 10 Former Child Stars Have Said About Surviving the Spotlight, Demi Lovato, who came up on the Disney Channel, said this, quote, there's no manual on how to raise a child star. And when the child star retorts back after the parents say, you're grounded for sneaking out at 3 in the morning, whatever, I retorted with, well, I pay the bills, what are you going to do? Christina Aguilera, who also came from Disney, said, quote, when I'm not working, there's a heavy amount of guilt that I feel. It's been embedded in me since I was little. You're shamed if you don't want to keep up. As a child entertainer, you're all pitted against one another, and other children are all about that grind too. It's a weird space to grow up in, and that's going to be very, just remember Christina's quote there when we get through this talk a little bit later. And I just can't stop thinking about the fact that like just we as adults and people, right, on social media and stuff, and just in life in general, at our jobs, whatever, we are constantly comparing ourselves. I think that is just the plight of humankind, always comparing ourselves to other people. It is one of the hardest things, I think, to stop doing. I do it all the time and I beat myself up. And literally every single day, trust me, you cannot say something horrible and awful to me or about me because I've already said infinitely worse things about myself on a regular basis. It is not healthy and I'm trying to work through it. But I keep thinking about, I am a grown-ass woman, like most of us. And so I think about what is it like for a child who's growing up in this world now with social media access now, constantly comparing themselves. And then what is it like for a child who actually has the spotlight on them? You know, it's bad enough for children comparing themselves as just kids who no one's looking at. What if everyone's looking at them and they're still comparing themselves? It's like you can't relate to it unless you're experiencing it. You know what I mean? And another truly gut-wrenching quote from Mara Wilson, who was a child star who eventually stepped out of Hollywood. She said this of child fame: it was cute when 10-year-olds sent me letters saying they were in love with me. It was not when 50-year-old men did. She continues, before I even turned 12, there were images of me on foot fetish websites and photoshopped into child pee. Every time I felt ashamed. Hollywood has resolved to tackle harassment in the industry, but I was never sexually harassed on a film set. She said, my sexual harassment always came at the hands of the media and the public. So let me ask you this, and I'm gonna withdraw my own opinion for now. If a former child star like JoJo adamantly denies being a victim of the adults in her life, what does that mean? Was she a victim? Should people still insist that someone is a victim based on their own perspective when the alleged victim says that they're not?
I don't know if it's just like, again, I like she is a victim of like, I think child exploitation for sure. Or it's like she just didn't develop and she's just like not fully like aware, and that's what I have to like think. But it's like she's so unaware of these situations. But you know, supposedly she was like yelling at them too. Allegedly, JoJo was like yelling at all them. Again, it's like JoJo, currently friends with Colleen, being like, I don't think she could do anything wrong. It's like, yeah, you're in the cycle, you're in there. It's just, or some parents are okay with having their child screamed at. Clearly, Jocelyn was okay with JoJo being screamed at by Abby Lee. fake or not, I'm sorry, nobody's gonna fake yell at my daughter on camera and like make her cry, because JoJo cried so many times on that show, and I just don't believe that she was acting each time.
And then kind of on the flip side, when people say that adult JoJo shouldn't be criticized now because they believe she's allegedly been exploited during her life and can't be held responsible for her actions, why? Is the adult actually immune from critique and criticism? If JoJo insists, which she does, that she's always been in control and wasn't exploited, should she be exempt from criticism for her adult behavior, in particular if it harms other people? To that argument, I think, well then, would we need to stop holding every adult accountable if they do something questionable or harmful, if they were ever hurt in their past? Because I kind of feel like that's most of society. Most people have experienced something that sucks when they were a kid, some people more than others.
So the fact that she's still friends with like Abby Lee and all this stuff like that, it's like, this is where the cycle of abuse just continues.
But on the other side of the perspective coin, if JoJo came out at some point in the future and said that after some reflection, she realized that she was a child victim, what would that mean? Now, I'm generally of the mindset that two things can be true at once, and this is a generality, not about JoJo specifically. I believe that a child can be the victim of exploitation or harm, and when they grow up, they can still be an asshole who should face the consequences of their adult actions. And in the same breath, I'm also of the mindset that sometimes, certainly not always, but sometimes a child can experience such immense mental and emotional harm or physical that their development is so severely affected that, number one, they don't even know how to process what happened to them. And number two, if they don't know how to process it, if they don't even understand it and have no one helping them as they grow up, that trauma may reveal itself in the form of hurting other people. So is that an excuse? No. Is it a possible reality? Yes. Two things can be true at once. You can have compassion for the child and genuine criticism for the adult. So for the moment, setting aside the debate around whether or not JoJo is a victim if she says that she is not, what I can do is talk a little bit about the many adults who worked with JoJo as a child for content either on TV or on their YouTube channels. Now, virtually every single adult who has worked with JoJo, the ones I'm gonna list at least, has since been exposed as some kind of alleged or abuser, and to date, JoJo has defended each of them. For starters, JoJo has collaborated with James Charles multiple times now, another dude who's launching his music career. Now listen, okay? Listen, I know what you're thinking. A lot of people used to collaborate with James Charles. Swoop, what is the big deal? Well, the big deal is, in light of every reason for somebody to not collaborate with James Charles in the modern era, JoJo did less than a year ago.
Hi everyone!
Sisters!
Oh my god. James Charles here and welcome back to our YouTube channel. As you guys can see, today I have a very special guest.
I'm a very special guest, thank you.
Miss JoJo Siwa.
And in case you think things may have changed since then, here's JoJo kissing James at her Karma release party. So they're still the besties. Oop. Now, I'm gonna provide a bit of a hot take here. I don't know what JoJo's relationship with James is actually like. I don't think that any of us do unless you're there. But like many of us probably have what the internet might call problematic friends or family members that we simply don't talk about to avoid getting dragged by association, right? I mean, let's be real. Most of us have someone racist in our families. Somewhere in there, you usually find it. You know, remember what I say on my second channel, Swoop 2, when I welcome you to the cesspool. Welcome to the cesspool, the place where everything and everyone is sus, maybe even us. Come on in, the water's fine. Now, aside from James surpassing the term problematic and more into allegedly criminal, it couldn't get any worse, right? Well, she also collaborated around this time with Shane Dawson, because for some reason, Shane Dawson has to be involved in like every story ever. I don't get it, but man, that guy gets around.
Oh my god, I like your jacket. Thank you. How are you?
Wow, your car.
Yeah, she's her.
What kind of reactions do you get driving that beautiful thing?
Back to it, maybe most notoriously, just a few months after these collabs, she, JoJo, defended Colleen Ballinger in an interview with Howie Mandel.
Speaking of friends, are you and if I'm wrong, are you friends with Colleen Ballinger still?
Yeah,
What do you say about that?
I've known Colleen since I was 12, and I think the work that Colleen has done for the internet is incredible. I think her creativity is incredible. Miranda sings, is a character, is a comedian.
Now, in case you're not subscribed to my second channel, Swoop 2, first of all, come on, girl, what you doing, okay? Let's be besties over there, too. But second of all, the very first video that I did over there covered that specific interview where JoJo explicitly called people like Adam, Becky, Oliver, and others allegations lies. And I said then that the reaction was disappointing and a bit disgusting, and I still mean it now.
The internet can take a lie and run so far with it, so far, to the point where you just can't do anything about it.
Okay, I have to pause here. JoJo not only defended Colleen, she says that the allegations levied against her are based on lies, which is weird. It's weird because, as a reminder, the allegations relate to Colleen Ballinger meeting underage fans and allegedly grooming them. So for JoJo to follow all of that up by saying, and I quote, "I've known Colleen since I was 12. She's always been nothing but kind to me," is wild, dude. It's the contradiction for me. Honey, the drapes don't match the curtains. Yeah, again, you can have compassion for the once upon child and criticism for the now adult. If JoJo doesn't like being called a victim of Colleen and other adults based on her personal experiences, why is she accusing other people like Adam of not being a victim when she was never present during his interactions with Colleen? I mean, he has receipts and it's his lived experience, not hers. Oh, and what's that? Colleen? Yeah, Colleen was also at JoJo's release party. Fun fact, but Colleen Ballinger is back making vlogs, still not really addressing anything, and she made a little vlog about the release party. And so did her sister, Rachel Ballinger, who, even more fun fact, has actually been friends with JoJo since she was 13 or 14, since JoJo was the kid there. When Rachel, by her own words, said that she slid into her DMs.
I get a message from Rachel that says,
on Twitter, it's a DM.
It's a DM on Twitter.
I slid into her DMs. You were also 14, 13?
14,
yeah, 14.
14.
Okay.
Maybe even 13. I get a text on Twitter, a DM that says, "Hey, let's be friends."
I shot my shot.
And also once apparently said that she was waiting till JoJo turned 18 to cuddle with her, so, you know, do with that what you will. I mean, that's super fun. Everything's great here.
I got so upset at Rachel the other day because she pulled the minor card.
Because what did I said I wouldn't, I don't remember what I even said.
I don't know, it was like, because you're a kid. And I was like, Rachel?
I was like, when you're 18, we'll cuddle or something. Okay, well, hold on. You're gonna gloss over this? That you told JoJo Siwa, when you're 18, we'll cuddle? Is this the new scandal of 2019?
That's what we're trying to avoid. It was completely
So you just have to explain a little more, because now in my head, JoJo said, "Rachel, can we please cuddle?" And Rachel said, "Not until you're 18." And now I'm imagining the future on your 18th birthday, you guys cuddling.
All of these folks were at the release show. LOL.
I left JoJo's thing, I put on a cowboy hat, and I'm headed to Dodrick's house now. Walking up now. Oh my god, I need to go home. It's 11 p.m. and I still have to drive home. Oh my god, I'm an old lady.
Now, on their own, JoJo's friends are like Mount Rushmore of problematic YouTubers. JoJo would disagree, but from the outside, this looks more to me like adults exploiting a child who was groomed to be a child star for the exploitation and profit of adults. So, now what? Let's add a fifth cheerleader to the mountain of shame.
I thought it was absolutely amazing. I'm gonna watch it over and over and over again. I'm sure that's what JoJo's counting on. I thought the guys dancing was really masculine and strong. I thought the girls, the sexy movement, the undulating, I thought it was all right. I know that it was choreographed. Every step of it was choreographed. Every, like, close face up, the tongue thing, all choreographed. And JoJo was singing the whole time, so I didn't see her kissing anybody.
So let's drop a bit of context right now. That's Abby Lee Miller, the former dance instructor at the head of Dance Moms. Now, you may remember her from recently declaring that she loves high school boys.
I do like those hot, athletic, muscular types of guys. The jocks. I always have, and I always will.
Or maybe you remember her from moments like these.
Then fix this hair, because it's horrible.
And why don't you fix your hair and fix your face and your body and everything else?
That's fine. When I join your dance company, I'll do it.
Let's start critiquing people. Let's start with you. Look in the mirror.
Do something. Done.
you, Abby.
You don't need them for the competition. I told you to do it for today. Now look at that language. Doesn't that embarrass you? That she has to use language like that? That's what a truck driver uses.
Now, Abby ran Dance Moms less like a sympathetic leader and more like a dictator, with JoJo once casually revealing that the schedule she had the girls on equated to 12 hours a day every single day. Now, for the record, I'm pretty sure that Dance Moms may have been exploiting some loopholes on what was actually considered part of their shoot, given what Pennsylvania child labor laws are like, and under no circumstances would 12 hours actually be an acceptable workday, but that should give you an idea of the type of shoot Dance Moms did regarding literal children. All of this in recent years has led to a massive amount of Dance Moms alumni refusing to work with Abby Lee ever again, from racism allegations levied by the parents of Cameron Smith and Cameron Bridges, to Maddie Ziegler's allegations that Abby fostered a toxic work environment, to the straight up allegations of emotional and physical harm made by Paige Hyland, who was only 13 at the time. I think it's safe to say that JoJo is on her own island when it comes to defending Abby.
My relationship with Abby now is amazing. The thing is I was there to make a TV show, she was there to make a TV show, and that is how dance teachers are.
So yeah, sidebar again, I have a Dance Moms doc just sitting and waiting for me to release, so let me know if you would like to see that in the comments. Now, with all of that in mind, I want to provide some final thoughts on karma before we get into the next section, because there are two theories people have been floating around to explain this dramatic reaction to such a benign makeover. Number one, it's all a big conspiracy to distract from the allegations that JoJo Siwa and her mother are, in many ways, as harmful as some of the people JoJo still aligns herself with. I'll get to that in a sec. But number two, there's a theory that it's all some preordained marketing stunt surrounding a young woman who began as a young girl, who has claimed multiple times in interviews that she is in control of her own destiny, autonomous with her choices, but is actually being controlled by the record company to do something that is, yes, quite embarrassing, but also incredibly lucrative. Here are the facts. Everyone is talking about JoJo. Everyone has seen this video, or at least a clip from it. Yes, it's done more to kickstart Britt Smith's delayed career than JoJo's own rebrand, but what's that old cliche? Oh yeah, there's no such thing as bad publicity. Think about it. Which means if this was some calculated move, which is very likely, then her team's marketing campaign was both massively successful and a massive failure. Everyone is talking about it. Check. But everyone hates the setup for it and therefore hates the song and every interview she does. Check. Like, the only way this rebrand could have gone better and worse is if it went down like this.
The genre you feel like, they're not ready to see JoJo Siwa jump into?
Rap. Faster than Busta Rhymes.
I mean, y'all, there is a Rolling Stone article about JoJo, for sake, something every musician dreams of. Unfortunately, I doubt they want one with the title JoJo Siwa is trying too hard to shock us, or one with the title JoJo Siwa promised them pop stardom. They say they were thrown in the trash. Yeah. That's the headline of an article regarding allegations that were levied against JoJo herself. I've seen some people say that the Karma release is a classic misdirection to distract from these allegations. Now, I don't necessarily think that I agree. I mean, these allegations came out in February of 2024, nearly 2 full months before Karma was released, and I don't think these people would have known that Karma was on the way, and these allegations seem to be dead on arrival almost immediately. But in light of the massive backlash JoJo is receiving as a result of Karma, these allegations have come up again in a massive way. So if the rebrand was meant to be a distraction, it failed big time, because now more than ever people are talking about the allegations that JoJo Siwa and her mother Jessalyn allegedly abused a number of underage budding pop stars in a girl group they built by the name of XOMG Pop.
Something missing in the world of music, and that is kids pop original music. So if we're making a pop group, and I want kids that have something special about them.
On February 13th, 2024, Rolling Stone released an article by E.J. Dixon under the title I mentioned earlier. But if you hover over the title on Google Chrome, you can see that it has a much more sinister title there. JoJo Siwa's XOMG Pop put dancers through alleged physical mental torment. Now, the first question you might have is, what is XOMG Pop, and how did it put dancers through something like that? So back in 2021, there was a show released for one season on streaming service Peacock titled Siwa's Dance Pop Revolution, which was a song and dance reality competition show focused on Jesselyn and JoJo creating a girl pop group. The show started with 11 girls, had them perform, and then every week one girl got eliminated until there were 6 left. So like, think Dance Moms if the end goal of Dance Moms didn't somehow involve Abby Lee Miller trying to bite one of the moms.
This is not easy. If you don't kill it, you're going home. Y'all don't understand how bad she wants this. I'm scared and I just want her to be in this group.
Now, once the show was finished, XOMG Pop was born, though a 7th member was later added, and these girls were named Kaya, Brooklyn, Leah, Dallas, Tamra, Kinley, and Bella, the oldest of which was 14 years old and the youngest being 8. Now, unless you're a parent of a Gen Alpha kid, you probably aren't aware just how popular XOMG Pop got, with their TikTok peaking at 3.3 million followers and the official YouTube garnering massive amounts of traffic. Basically overnight, the JoJo/Jesselyn project had become a bit of a sensation for young kids everywhere, with merchandise, branded competitions, and even podcasts to promote the group popping up left and right. They played live, were on America's Got Talent, like you get it, right?
You can't let the opportunity slip by you. You have to take everything and you have to grasp it. So you sit right here.
But as student journalist Emma Burke put it for her campus, quote, within 2 years, 4 members left the group without explanation. This caused an increase in questioning about XOMG Pop and why the group seemed to be bleeding members just as they were taking off. Well, those answers came courtesy of Rolling Stone, speaking with former member Leah Sanderson and her mother Angie, and what they found does not bode well at all for JoJo and the Siwas. As Leah described it to Rolling Stone, she was a lifelong fan of JoJo's, and the idea of possibly getting to work with her on a show like this sounded like a dream come true. Now, to me, Leah can be best described as a fighter. She was born with spina bifida, which, according to the CDC, is, quote, a type of neural tube defect that can happen anywhere along the spine if the neural tube does not close all the way. When the neural tube doesn't close all the way, the backbone that protects the spinal cord doesn't form and close as it should. This often results in damage to the spinal cord and nerves. When it comes to young people, they further state, quote, people with spina bifida higher on the spine near the head might have paralyzed legs and use wheelchairs. Those with spina bifida lower on the spine near the hips might have more use of their legs and use crutches, braces, or walkers, or they might be able to walk without those devices. Leah has lived with this her entire life, telling Rolling Stone that she had spent most of her early life receiving surgeries and even to this day struggles with consistent pain and infection. And I'm telling you all of this to highlight the fact that Leah being a dancer is a big deal, and her winning a competition to become part of an international dance troupe is phenomenal. And again, like y'all know, like chat a little bit about me, just like kind of weave some additional context here. Like, I as a musician and performer, I'm a dancer, right? I do a lot of dancing on tour. I also have a spinal injury and fibromyalgia and chronic illness. And so when you are in pain just all the time, period, since basically birth, doing anything is a really big deal. Let me just be like real about it. Is a really big deal. And a lot of times you just can't. Not only just getting through like regular ass life, being able to be on stage, to perform, to dance, to move your body in that way with something like spina bifida or spine injury, chronic illness, any of that is like, unless you are in it and your body experiences it, you just don't understand how monumental that is. And so major flowers to Leah and any of you out there who have injury or chronic illness or chronic pain, all of the flowers to you simply for getting out of bed if you were able to today. And if you weren't able to today, that is okay too. You're still a legend because you are here on this earth existing one day at a time. That's all I'm gonna say. You are valid and amazing and incredible. Okay, my little sidebar done. Let's get back to the story now. Along the way, Leah became so damn good at what she does that she got to work with Alyssa Edwards from Drag Race on the Netflix show Dancing Queen. It was actually her connection with Alyssa Edwards that got her a connection for the Siwa's Dance Pop Revolution show, which Leah flew out to do with her mom, Angie, in early 2021. Now, Leah believed this was her big break, but as E.J. Dixon puts it for Rolling Stone, quote, "The 2 years that followed were the exact opposite of what Leah had dreamed about as a little girl." Now, again, a huge shout out to E.J. Dixon's diligent reporting on this. The article is quite thorough, and I don't want to just, simply repeat everything that E.J. wrote, so I highly advise you to read the article for more details. But the allegations made against the Siwas break down into a few distinct categories. Furthermore, Angie and Leah have since come forward on Instagram, TikTok, and Reddit to provide further context for their allegations, so please do check out their accounts as well. It's always important to hear directly from the people who are speaking out. Now first, Leah alleges that the Siwas fostered an unpleasant, downright harmful work environment on the show itself, alleging that the rehearsals were grueling to the point that they allegedly had girls skip required breaks for school.
How many hours did you typically work? There would be some weeks they would work 40 to 60 hours, but then there would be some weeks when you were just languishing in LA and they wouldn't let us go home and we weren't really doing anything. But then a lot of times on our day off, they were like, you need to go make YouTube videos. You need to go make TikTok videos. You need to go take photos in this merch. If a child is on set for over 3 hours, they have to have 3 hours of school. But what it boils down to, if you even work 3 hours in 1 minute, you have to have 3 hours of school. And that was not followed. And whether the school teacher reported it, that it was, Leah and
my log literally, so I do an online public school. Well, it's a private public, or I don't even know what I'm saying. A private online school, so it keeps record of everything that I do. And it literally, has receipts of how much school that you do.
Yeah, it tells you what class you're in. It tells you what, how many minutes you spent in each class, to the day, to the minute, to the 10th of a second.
And it basically said that we only did, 3 days, right?
Not even. The Siwa's records don't match the Acellus records, then they're lying because Acellus doesn't lie. So, we have the receipts. That's why the reporter was able to report on that, because she was given all of that.
It's worth noting that even with the allegations that they weren't properly compensated for social media work, the illegality here is somewhat unclear due to the nature of the work being performed. There is a law known as the Coogan Law that offers protection to children in the entertainment industry that was passed in California. However, notably, this law does not protect children working in social media. Social media earnings fall into a very certain gray area, meaning that, to be clear, the Siwas aren't actually being accused of breaking the law in that case, just being incredibly unethical. However, if school breaks were indeed being skipped or shortened, or they weren't given time to complete their required school hours, that is a problem and could potentially lead to civil damages, considering that, quote, "The time spent in school will be considered 6 hours of work for a child performer, regardless of how long the child actually spent at school." Example, a 9 to 15-year-old minor who attends regular school would be permitted on set for a maximum of 3.5 hours. Now, Angie actually posted someone else's TikTok to her Instagram that, in my opinion, breaks this all down quite succinctly.
JoJo Siwa is being accused of mistreating members of her girl group, XOMG Pop.
We are gonna make you guys the next phenomenon.
One of the former members of the group, Leah Sanderson, has alleged to Rolling Stone that during her time with XOMG Pop, she was treated very badly. Okay, stop. The group featured performers aged 8 to 14 and was formed by JoJo and her MoJo, Jesselyn, through the reality TV competition Siwa's Dance Pop Revolution. In the article, Leah and multiple other sources claim the Siwas subjected the group to grueling rehearsals with meager compensation, including one incident where Jesselyn encouraged Leah to attend a music video shoot after she had undergone spinal cord surgery.
If you don't kill it, you're going home.
They allege that the Siwas and the production company dangled the carrot of stardom in front of the group, but would berate them on camera and encourage them to cry. The Siwas have denied these accusations.
All of this is bad on its own, but it's when the Sandersons begin to describe instances of what they describe as working under intense physical duress that the allegations become truly troubling. As E.J. Dixon put it for Rolling Stone, Jesselyn encouraged her to attend a video shoot just a few weeks after she underwent spinal cord surgery. Just days before the surgery, they allege Leah started bleeding through her belly button during a rehearsal for a performance at the Children's and Family Emmys, which was hosted by JoJo. Rather than encourage her to take a break, the Sandersons say Jesselyn told her to put a maxi pad on it so it wouldn't leak onto her costume. On one hand, yeah, sure, you don't want a bloody costume on TV, but on the other hand, why are you gonna make someone recovering from a spinal surgery that is literally bleeding dance in your rehearsals and on TV? Jess, come on, Jess, girl, what, a maxi pad? I can't even finish my sentence because I can't with this. Especially Jess, given that this article is just dripping with allegations of you, quote, berating a contestant with hypotonia, a disorder that causes low muscle tone, by mocking her for being unable to move her arms and legs, allegedly made fun of her speech, at one point mimicking her. You're a mean ass woman, Jess, allegedly, and so is your daughter, allegedly. Because when it comes to JoJo, the article describes her as, quote, nasty and domineering, a sharp contrast from her upbeat on-screen persona. It's alleged that JoJo would shout insulting remarks to the girls during performances and would often pit her favorites against each other, telling the girls allegedly to compare themselves to each other, a sharp parallel to how Abby Lee Miller ran her Dance Mom set with the weekly pyramid placements she made to foster a toxic and competitive work environment. And remember that quote from Christina Aguilera and constantly being compared and pitted against each other, child stars, all of that? Yeah. JoJo's being accused of doing the same to these children. Now, at one show in Minnesota, JoJo allegedly shouted at the girls.
And so we go on stage and we have these little in-ears. I've talked about it before. And we hear a voice in the middle of our performance saying, "You guys, the energy is low. Y'all are sucking. Come on, guys. What are y'all doing?" Like all of these things. She's like, "It's sloppy." And we're trying to sing to like how many thousands of people that are at the Mall of America trying to do a big performance. There's people up there. There's people down there, over there, over there. We're trying to cater to everybody. We're trying to sing live and dance full out. And then we hear this voice in our heads. Like, how does that affect a person? Like when you're literally performing for thousands of people. And then after we got off stage, our moms are like, "Y'all did so good. Y'all did so good. Like it was really good." And then Jess text JoJo and asked her, "How was it?" And you want to know what she said?
Sloppy.
She said it was sloppy. No good. Like it was sloppy.
If you've ever seen Jess Siwa in action or read anything about Jess, none of this should be surprising, unfortunately.
Somebody out in that big bad world makes fun of her, she's gonna lose it.
You know, in your marketing dance mind, JoJo is the most commercial kid here that you will be taking to LA.
But these kinds of stories go against the image JoJo has spent her entire life trying to build, however, and are a bit of a sad mirroring of JoJo learning what she's seen around her, which again is sad. In my opinion, JoJo, the child, didn't have anyone advocating for her because her mother was literally steering the ship. And I wonder, do the girls currently still in XOMG Pop have advocates protecting them? I certainly hope they do, given these allegations. I think that because of the success JoJo has received in life as a direct result of what she went through as a child, this behavior is very likely normal to her. I mean, you get great results by being an asshole to kids. I mean, just look at the ratings and the money. And then now look at how JoJo turned out, right? And like, that's not even a joke. She's literally a millionaire. And as we've seen time and again, her face is on so many products. Even aside from the karma show she's objectively a very successful person. But this is also a clear sign that much of the success was in spite of what I believe to be the harmful behavior surrounding her and not because of it. Because all you have to do is look at the many other co-stars she had in Dance Moms to see the truly damaging effects of what this kind of mindset can truly do to a child. Again, JoJo denies being a victim of exploitation and harm as a child. And I respectfully, I don't agree, but is that anyone's call to make if JoJo won't make that call? Again, like, I'm just so curious, like, what do y'all think? Like, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that because, you know, there are instances where you literally can see someone being, you know, like harmed, let's say in a DV situation in a relationship, and they can be in denial or protection or, you know, trauma bonded to their abuser. And like, it doesn't mean it doesn't exist if they say that it's not happening, you know what I mean? But you have to like be very careful about how you approach those situations if someone's not ready to hear it or talk about it, you know what I mean? The next major allegation is that the Siwas misled the families of the girls to the point that it had a severe financial impact on each of them, with Angie stating that despite the ex-OMG Pop experience being a high source of revenue for the Siwas, families involved with the show often had to pay out of pocket for food and transportation, usually without being reimbursed. What makes all this worse is that in recent months, Angie has taken to Instagram to share pieces of her contract with the Siwas that she claims they are in breach of. For instance, this post shows that the Siwas are contractually obligated to pay the Sandersons $10,000 for the release of a single song, and additional payments of $75,000 for an album, and an additional $75,000 just for winning. However, as Angie has told Rolling Stone, she only received $4,250 of that initial $10,000, due allegedly to just paying for an Airbnb for the Sandersons out of the advance. And as for the rest of the money, Angie claims that this was split between all of the girls, with her being misled into believing, per the language of the contract, that these amounts were singular. And again, if some of these payments are advanced, just for those of you who don't know, like in the record industry, you can get paid an advancement of money. That's not money essentially for you to like keep free and clear. Advance literally means we're advancing you this money, but expenses are going to come out of it. Basically, you're paying the label back that advance over time, but the advance is there to like help you, you know, whatever it is, like get some food or get a car or have a place to live or whatever it is that people want to use their advance for. So if there were expenses to be taken out of it and it was advanced and the contract says that it was going to be recoupable, the word recouped, then that would be why expenses would be taken out of it, potentially, if that was what the situation was. But here's another post showing the girls were owed merchandise cuts, something Angie alleges never happened, and another post alleging other earnings that were never received. Now, Angie has also alleged that the pair were penalized for never officially moving to California and not paying for their own housing, something that wasn't in the contract.
In our contracts, it does say, and I am going to post, when I find this section, I am going to post it. Our contracts never required us to relocate to California. Nowhere that we signed said that if we made the group, we had to relocate.
Exactly.
The contracts also said that while we were working, that travel and accommodations would be provided, which means all the travel, the housing, also our transportation. That is in the contracts. It says while we are working. It doesn't say
you're gonna go to California and spend a year there without going home.
Yeah. So when we first began, and I had put Leah in school. Leah was in her performing arts high school. We were under the impression that we would just be traveling back and forth. We would go for a few weeks, work, and she would come home.
And we would go to California and then keep asking. There would never be a return date. So we would go there without knowing when we were going to come home.
So you might be asking, did Angie ever speak up? Well, not exactly, at least not right away, and for understandable reason. As Rolling Stone detailed, quote, she lived in fear that if she said anything, she would endanger Leah's position in the group or they would be sued for breach of contract, something she and two sources close to the production of Dance Pop Revolution alleged the mothers were threatened with on multiple occasions. The fact that one member, Kaya B, had already been abruptly fired in the fall of 2022 further solidified that no no one standing within XOMG Pop was guaranteed. And what's worse is that Angie also believed Leah could simply be let go for her disability. So again, it's kind of that rock in a hard place in a lot of ways with this story, right? Because, I'm imagining someone in Angie's position couldn't afford a lawsuit from, a record company or a production company, from Peacock, whoever it would be that would be entitled to sue them. That could be very, 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 very bad for someone in Angie and Leah's position.
The thing is, we were just very, nervous about Leah being let go because of her disability and because she'd been in the hospital in LA. She'd had a lot of issues that fall and winter before the surgery, and so we were very nervous about her getting fired for that reason.
Now, all of this and the financial burden the Siwas put them under led to Angie and another mother being so broke that they actually, quote, started working directly for Jessalyn herself, organizing JoJo's closet and scrubbing toilets in her home for $20 an hour, which Rolling Stone actually confirmed via PayPal receipts and a work schedule given to them. Now, do I need to truly highlight how up it is that Angie quit her job to make her daughter's dreams come true, left her other children back at home, closed her daycare business, only to scrub toilets for Jessalyn Siwa while watching her child get allegedly yelled at and demeaned? It's a testament, in my opinion, to the lengths that parents will go for their kids, and producers are well aware of those lengths and exploit not only the children, but I think most likely the parents' desperation for their children to make it in show business. And yes, to be fair, on the flip side, one could also counter-argue that if the parents were witnessing their children being exposed to an allegedly harmful environment, that those parents should have immediately, yanked their kids out of that harmful situation, no matter what, to protect their child's development. And to be fair, that is a valid perspective as well. Again, like I said at the beginning of all this is a very complicated story and situation, lots of nuance here. But if we look at the foundation, the root of all of this, aside from the music industry, which is a whole nother beast, this is a position Angie never should have been in the first place. It also didn't help that Angie barely understood what she was signing and allegedly was given little time to even understand it.
First of all, we were given those contracts and we had, I think, 48 hours to sign them. We were given all these contracts. There was a lawyer who was paid for by the Siwas that was supposed to negotiate this. And we could not go on the TV show until you signed the recording merchandising contract in anticipation if you made the group, you would already be under these contracts.
So imagine we're not blindsided, but we kind of don't know what we're getting into, but then we all have to already sign the contracts for
and
it.
We had to be rushed.
And all of this while Angie is struggling to even receive treatment for a brain tumor she was recently diagnosed with, to the point that her son has had to start a GoFundMe for her treatment. Now, the final major allegation is quite direct: alleged psychological harm. Now, this came as a result not only of Jess and JoJo, but the producers, with an anonymous source telling Rolling Stone that the producers believed, quote, "It's not a good day unless you make a kid cry," which is a lovely ethos to hold, right? Let's entertain the masses, but only if a kid's crying. This was done through typical underhanded reality show hijinks by manipulating the girls for heightened drama, which is pretty dicey when you consider one of the girls was only 8 at the time. All of these things and more were reason enough for any family to leave, but they didn't. Instead, Leah was allegedly pushed out due to an altercation Angie had with another parent. Quote, while the girls were filming a YouTube video making slime at the group's content house, Angie, fed up with the allegedly arduous hours and the erratic school schedule, had a verbal confrontation with other mothers, as well as the girl's teacher. When Jessalyn caught wind of it, she texted her demanding that she apologize to her and the other mothers for her behavior. This led to an argument where Angie reportedly begged Jess to let Leah stay in the group, but it was no use, with Leah being fired over text. Since then, the financial issues, the Sandersons have gotten even worse, with them taking a particular issue with Leah's image being used in multiple XOMG Pop branded products. Rolling Stone breaks it down by saying, quote, a merchandising contract provided to Rolling Stone signed in June 2021 entitles the 7 members of XOMG Pop to 20% of merchandising revenue, or about 2.8% per member, though the entertainment attorney who spoke with Rolling Stone said such a percentage is shockingly low, even for a new artist. The Sandersons allege they have not seen any revenue from merchandising, nor have they been compensated for brand deals, photo and music video shoots, or rehearsals. Since the release of the Rolling Stone expose, JoJo and Jess have firmly denied all allegations through their lawyer, Brian Friedman, who pulled a bit of a Uno reverse Darvo in her statement by alleging that Angie was actually the abusive one. Quote, these allegations are 100% provably false, and this story is created to generate clicks at the expense of the truth. Had actual investigative reporting been done, the voluminous and irrefutable evidence would tell you all you need to know, that a disgruntled momager's own abusive behavior caused for her daughter to be asked not to return to the group. Her relentless texts begging for forgiveness and for her daughter to be reinstated completely discredit her and these ridiculous allegations. Jess Siwa was protecting the staff, the other girls, and their families, which she will continue to do vociferously and unapologetically. Those are a couple of big words, Mr. Lawyer Man. It appears that in light of these events, it can be inferred that Jess might actually be considering legal action against Angie, or at least threatening it. In a now deleted post on Reddit that, from the context of the remaining comments, seems to be about Angie sharing a satirical post about Jess she thought at the time was real, Jess Siwa allegedly commented directly, which is just wild to me that she's commenting directly on stuff. Thanks for posting this, exactly what I needed. Now, by this point, Angie had already removed the article upon learning that it was satire, but this post from Jess sent her off. Quote, Jess Siwa, bring what you've got. I am not scared of you. You know the truth, and I am happy for it all to come out. We can subpoena everyone. Please come for me because I have so much more to say. Also, you might want to check with your OG moms because I am ready to spill it all if you are going to threaten me. The best thing you can do is pay Leah what you owe her and the others as well, and let Leah go completely so we can all move on. Oh, and an apology would be great as well. No matter where all of this goes, it seems like the story of Angie, Leah, Jess, and JoJo is far from over and may just be the beginning. And through all of this, I just hope that Leah is safe, healthy, and healing. I think she's already a talented warrior living with her chronic health condition, and I just hope that mentally and emotionally she's no longer in harm's way. I don't think it's worth it if it's going to cause a child mental harm. Hopefully she's healing. Okay, so please excuse the tone shift, but I think we need a bit of a kitty palette cleanser, and then I will conclude this all with my final thoughts. Look at these sweet little baby kitties. The billing department just celebrated their 3rd birthday, so they got a special cakes made of their favorite treats and snacks and bossed me around for toys. It was wonderful. The cakes looked absolutely disgusting, but you know, they loved it. You can be sure to grab your pieces from the brand new Petty University Valid collection and the Valid Ribcage collection by tapping the link below and in the pinned comment. I designed them to be a constant reminder of just how incredible, beautiful, amazing, and valid you are, no matter what you look like, what you've survived, the invisible illness that you endure, or what you want to do in life. And I truly believe that you're going to love these pieces as much as I do. Also follow me on Instagram and Twitter, both linked below. That's where I post most often. I have polls, I check in on my own life with y'all, and post opportunities to be featured in upcoming docs. And please keep tagging me with your outfit photos from Petty University Shop. I love reposting you on my IG stories. Also, I have officially launched a brand new second channel called Swoop 2, T-O-O. My second channel is a little more unhinged, okay? And we take a lot more unhinged. And we take many little deep dives into what I call the sus pool, where everything and everyone is sus, maybe even us. We dip into all kinds of dark, bizarre, mind-bending, creepy stories, true crime, and absurd influencer disasters. The videos are much shorter, so yeah, it is a great time over there, so make sure you subscribe there as well as subscribe here. A couple of shout outs from my last doc on Dan Schneider and all of the horrid allegations made against him and Nickelodeon and that dreadful interview that was just like,
It was very difficult, me facing my past behaviors. Embarrassing and that I regret.
Did she say nice things about me? Because I will tase her.
Oh. That's gonna get on TV. I definitely owe some people a pretty strong apology.
I looked at all of them and I just said, how dare you?
Hey, also the network called and we're picked up for another season of
That is also linked below. I highly recommend giving it a watch after you watch this one. First shout out goes to Mad Hatter Girl 56 who says, Petty University, here I come. Yes, we love it, class in session. And the second shout out goes to Roxanne who says, I have been waiting, Swoop, tear his ass up. Listen, okay, I was honest. I was honest. And I was petty, and yeah, just check it out. It'll be linked below. Now, per usual, if you want to be my next shout out, make sure you're following me on Twitter at SpankyV and to retweet this video right here. Huge thank you again to Raycon for sponsoring this doc, and be sure to click the link in the description or go to buyraycon.com/swoop to get 20% off your Raycon purchase plus free shipping, and treat yourself, honey. You deserve it. I'm not gonna mince my words here. The JoJo Siwa rebrand party is a bit of a show.
The thing about me is I will rarely, pretty much never, I'm gonna say never, claim to be a singer. Dream guest on my podcast?
Dream guest on my podcast? Dream guest on my podcast? Dream guest on my podcast?
But there's something that's often lost when it comes to stories about people like JoJo Siwa. Nuance. There's a term in philosophy known as the dialectical method, which refers to the method of discussion, of coming up with answers through the medium of the logical and reasonable discourse of arguments, keeping in mind that no disrespectful arguments are made. It is a discussion between different entities about their point of view. As I like to say, perspective, meaning two things can be true at the same time, and the real answer is often a mix of both viewpoints. JoJo Siwa has not lived like me or you. Since the age of 2, she has been thrown into a machine and come out the other end as a product through what looks like exploitative working conditions set forth by adults who care more about their bottom line than her safety. And we could see this happen time and again with the people she surrounds herself with. Abby Lee Miller, James Charles, Shane Dawson, Colleen Ballinger, Todrick Hall, and so many more. But this has led to the real tragedy of JoJo Siwa. A repeating of the cycle that actually brought her success so great, it likely distorted her memories of the disturbing ways that she got there. Because now, JoJo is allegedly enabling the harm of young girls on the sets of her own shows. If she's gonna say she's an adult, be treated like an adult, and create shows where she is handling children, she has to answer for that if she's harming people. She's defending known predators and alleged predators, and she's doing it all with the unearned confidence to claim that she is an innovator in a genre she also at one point claimed to invent. That's not even touching on the other little-known controversies, like that time a few years ago when JoJo and her team released a card game for kids after accusations that the game contained inappropriate questions about things like kissing, being naked, twerking, and stealing. And to be clear, JoJo didn't make the game. According to a TikTok statement she made, she didn't even know what was in the game, which was released when she was only 15 or 16 years old. Yes, it's a little odd. She doesn't see the product before her name is attached to it and released, but also she was a kid, and this is not unheard of in the entertainment industry. And once JoJo claims that she realized what was in the game, she worked on having Nickelodeon pull the game from the stores.
Hey everyone, it's JoJo. So over the weekend, it has been brought to my attention by my fans and followers on TikTok that my name and my image have been used to promote this board game that has some really inappropriate content. Now, when companies make these games, they don't run every aspect by me, and so I had no idea of the types of questions that were on these playing cards. Now, when I first saw this, I was really upset at how gross these questions were, and so I brought it to Nickelodeon's attention immediately.
But this is yet another way in which JoJo is in a machine that, in my opinion, opinion, both exploits her as she exploits others. It's really interesting because for a very long time, everything that's happened with JoJo, including this, could be chalked up to the naivete that she held as a child star. Like all of the stuff that happened to her as a kid can be painted as a tragedy happening around her. But as an adult, these are all things JoJo has ingrained in herself, to the point that when questioned about anything problematic in her life, like her Dance Moms co-stars, allegations against Abby Lee Miller, or the allegations against her problematic friends, or the allegations from XOMG Pop against her and Jesselyn, she either stays quiet or she defends the problematic behavior. As a result of JoJo consistently doubling and tripling down on her unchecked ego at this point, she's an adult, we can say that, and the problematic behavior of everyone in her orbit, including her rebrand has led people to talk more about JoJo, the good, the bad, and the unbearably cringe. And it's largely, and in some cases allegedly, her own fault. Will the views and fame last for JoJo? Probably, at least for a while, but I am concerned that once the light inevitably dims on her career the way it does most every single star, when the momager's power wanes, people grow tired of the ego and the yes men turn into no ones, where will that leave JoJo? And will the people who are currently dunking on JoJo have any room for compassion for her if she continues on this path? You know? Only time will tell. And in the meantime, stay ready, stay petty, class dismissed. Swoop!